bit. We've been doing these small speaker series. They're about 30 minutes long. Today's going to be a little bit shorter, but we are really excited to share some of the deep insights that our advocates have as a result of doing domestic violence work. So the theme for this month has really been around reflecting and embracing that being an advocate in this field comes with power. And the very thing we're trying to combat in this work is power. So every week, Tuesday, 2:30 to 3, you can come back next Tuesday, and following Tuesday, we'll have more advocates for you. And they're pretty much just going to be unpacking a single question. So I'm really excited to have Catrina with us. Catrina, would you like to introduce yourself, a little bit about your experience before New Beginnings, about who you are, and your time here?
Yes, my name is Catrina Henry. I've been in human and social services for 13 plus years. And prior to coming to New Beginnings, I was a law enforcement assisted diversion case manager with the REACH program, working with homeless individuals within the court system, helping them get housed, mental health services, substance services, just a wide range of things. And I've worked at pretty much all of the, I guess you would call it popular agencies, except DESC. I didn't work there, but I worked at Plymouth and Compass and Lehigh. I've been a veterans case manager, so just done a lot of things with different people, helping them, but all in the same areas, because even though New Beginnings focus on domestic violence survivors, even the people that I've worked with prior to this have been survivors of domestic violence or been through some sort of violence and trauma.
And so you've been an advocate in a lot of different fields and have provided support in a lot of different capacities. So really, when we were talking about doing the speaker series, you were really excited about unpacking that relationship between an advocate and a peer. So I was really curious when you really wanted to talk about what being a peer is like. So what does it mean to be a peer between an advocate and a participant? And how is that different than what traditional people think of for advocacy?
Okay. I believe that being a peer with a participant means that you're on an equal playing field, and there's no big I's and little U's. It's just another person who's struggling in an area that you may not, or that you have overcome, and you're here to help. The one thing that I tell participants all the time is that I'm an assistant to your life. I'm walking with you, not ahead of you. I'm not bringing you. I'm not dragging you. This is your life, and I'm an assistant. I can help you navigate through resources and the systems. I can use my voice to advocate for you because I'm not afraid of the repercussions. And I feel like in all the other facets that I've worked in, I've given voice to the voiceless. And I think that how this is different from the traditional relationship with an advocate is because I think that there's always a hierarchy where people feel like, well, I'm just, and you are, as if because you are, you're above, and because I'm just, I'm less, or I'm not on the equal playing field, or I don't know as much, or I don't have that experience, and I'm just not a title person. Like, I know that my job title is HomeSafe advocate, for housing. I understand that totally, but I've never been caught up on titles. And like I tell all participants or any clients I've ever worked with, I'm going to do anything that I can for you within the parameters of my job, because I know what it's like to be on the other side, and nobody asked to be put in that situation or to have that feeling, and I don't think that there's any good that comes from you're more than me and I'm less than you. I think that we all need to be seen on the same page. because we all have something to offer. My experience might be different than yours, your experience might be different than mine, but I think that we all have something to contribute, no matter what we're dealing with or what we're talking about.
And it's big, those are two different complete power dynamics between, looking at someone as we're on the same team together, or, hey, I'm here to service you. This is my title. You're just, my participant. You're just here to get my services. And so how does the power change from when you're in this traditional model to this new peer-to-peer model?
I think it changed because, for instance, even though I have very good boundaries, I find that participants are more comfortable. I find that they understand that I'm working with them because I have a job and my job gave me a title, and that means that I have a role to play. But I think that it takes away some of the hesitancy that they might have with being more forthcoming with information. I think that it takes away the feeling of I'm going to judge them, because one thing that I do, and I've always done it, is like, let's say someone gave me a compliment on my shirt. Now, in one arena, someone might think that, oh, she's bragging, she got that from so and so. But I don't. I let them know where I got it from, because I want them to know that you can get it too. Like, I don't have anything that you can't have. Like, I'm no better than you. I went to Ross. I got this shirt from Ross. It cost $9.99. You get one. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, like this is something tangible that you can have. You know what I mean? Like, you have access to this. And if you don't have access to it, let me tell you how I saved for some things that I wanted, which is the same thing that you can do, and whether it takes you longer, shorter, whatever, you still have access to it and you can have it. And so I just remove those, I don't know, I feel like they're barriers, that make people feel a certain way. I don't want you to feel a certain way. I want you to know that I'm no different than you. I struggle. I could be a paycheck away from homelessness. You know what I mean? Like, COVID took a toll on my family. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want there to be those differences where you feel like I'm more or better than you, because that's just not true. And so I've even had a client tell me, oh, Catrina, I really love you. And I know that, for the things that I'm doing, or the door that they may feel that I opened, or whatever has happened, they feel like that is a sense of love, because she cared about me. And I want you to have that feeling, because everybody wants to be cared about, and you should receive that, but I also keep good boundaries where I am doing my job and I do have to answer to someone else. So there are expectations for me and there's expectations for you. And I'm going to work with you however much I can, but there's going to come a time when I'm going to have to give you a little push. I might be, I don't know, a little more assertive or something like that. But at the end of the day, this is all for you.
It also just sounds like you're really breaking down. I think the idea that advocates have different lives than the people we serve and the communities we're in. I think oftentimes we think of advocates as people who have achieved a certain point in their journey. They've gone and they are able to do all these things. But like you said, the reality is, like, I have the same shirt. You can go get it. Like, we are very much in similar positions. We are in the same community together. And it just happens to be that my role is at this organization providing you with services.
And plus, also, just one more thing. I also feel like when I deal with participants, they want to know that you identify, not just that you understand or you empathize or you sympathize with them, because they're not looking for pity. They're not looking for, you know what I mean? They want to know that you actually understand. You've been through something. Wow. How did you make it out of that? And I think that there's a way that I can tell my story without having to disclose everything that crosses a boundary where they feel like, they know something that someone else doesn't, or they can go tell someone else something, oh, did you know? It's not a story that I didn't already tell someone else. So it's not a top secret or anything. It's just, I identify what you're going through. It may look different. It may have happened to me different, but I identify.
So you've mentioned before, because I know in conversations between me and you, we've talked about how there is those expectations. You've mentioned you're like, hey, I have this as my job. So there are certain expectations, but you've also mentioned between me and you that there's a difference between expectation and how appreciation shows up in these relationships. So what is the difference between when you're really trying to be like, hey, I'm seeing that this is something that I need to think about because it's my job, versus when you're feeling like the appreciation is natural and you're connecting as a peer, and it's not even about the work, it's about the fact that you're with a person. So like ultimately, like what is the difference between the appreciation, the expectations in your relationships?
I think that in the dynamics that we serve the participants or clients, everyone comes in with an expectation. You do. Because maybe so-and-so told you that this person or that person or this group or that group or organization can do this, this, and this. And so you think that that's what's supposed to happen for you, or you expect that. And you're looking for that for yourself, right? But with me, I try to break it down. I know that you may be expecting this, this, or this, but that isn't necessarily going to happen. Not because it can't or you're not deserving, but because everybody's circumstances is different. And I think that when you take the time to explain things to people and to give them that information and just let them know plain and simply what things are, what things can be, what they can't be, and you just put everything on the table, it gives them a greater appreciation for you. Because there is a difference in you appreciating me or me appreciating you or us appreciating the dynamics in the relationship that has been built versus an expectation where you're holding me to something, or I'm holding you to something. And that's something that I don't do. I don't hold participants to anything. I don't, because it's their life. We can talk about something. If you would like to do that, if that works for you, then that's fine. If it doesn't, well, let's see how we can figure out something else. Or is there another way you'd like to go about it? Is there, was that a struggle? Is that causing you some kind of trauma? Is that triggering to you? I think it's just good to dive in, but you have to be paying attention and be in tune too. I think that everybody's time is theirs. So when I'm dealing with a participant, that's their time. We're not going to have any distractions or interruptions unless it's an emergency, because this is your time. And I want you to feel like you're just as important as the person you're talking to, and what you're talking about is just as important as you being here. And I think that brings about a different appreciation.
Sounds like it's also like not over promising so you don't under deliver. And it sounds like, like when you're able to be very upfront around what you're able to provide, it manages those expectations so that way it makes room for the appreciation. Because people are expecting you to do A, B, and C, and you can only do A.
And because participants and clients are always going to tell you, well, so-and-so did it. Well, I thought we were able to. Well, why can't I? And you need to be ready for that. I don't feel that I'm under attack or, based on my position and who I am, I don't have to explain myself to you. Why can't you? Why wouldn't you? And if you don't know an answer, I'll get back to you and let you know. I mean, why don't we treat these same people that have gone through something the same way we would want to be treated if we were going through something, or even if we weren't? We just should treat people how we want to be treated, just period.
So we do have two great questions that are kind of one question combined. Is being a peer encouraged in the social services field, or is this your own personal philosophy that you try and bring to your job?
I think it's me bringing it to the job. I was not trained to be a peer. I wasn't trained to see participants or clients as an equal party, or um, as someone who is deserving of the same things as me. And we see it play out every day. Like with the homeless, they're treated like they have the plague. Like, because they're homeless, they have a stain on their bodies that makes them less than, they lack value, they don't deserve the same treatment. That's somebody's person. That's somebody's family. That's somebody's sister, brother, uncle, auntie, mom, dad, child. And they didn't lose their worth or their value or their dignity because they're homeless. They are just simply without a home, going through the worst time of their life, and they don't need another person to treat them in a horrible manner because they don't have what you have. But, that's the haves and the have-nots that's always been around, and I just choose not to do that. I made a choice not to do it, because we all have choices to make, and we can either choose to participate or be different and create another form of care and treatment.
So we have a good follow-up question. Are you seeing a shift in the training that are you seeing a shift in the training that new folks in the field are getting to be in the peer mindset? Or do you think the more traditional dynamic of helper and the person being helped is still dominant?
I believe that the help and the helper is still dominant. People don't know. Because for us to remove all of that, we'd have to remove a whole lot of other things. There wouldn't be a have or have nots. There wouldn't be any racism. There wouldn't be segregation where you live over there. We don't want those people in our area. There wouldn't be the protest. There wouldn't be there just would be more prevention. There would be more prevention services to help people that are struggling. And I'm all about prevention. So for me, I think if you're not trying to help prevent what's going on and help people learn a better way, a new way, a different way, or shape and mold the way that they do it, then you're a part of the problem. And why can't people live where they want to live? Why is it because you don't have the clothes I have, or whatever it is, that I don't want you over here? Or because they're out of control, or they're going to do this, they're going to do that. That's all about survival. Teach me a skill. Teach me something new. Retrain me. Because we have to know that people living without consistency. I don't know any other, if you're not living consistently, and doing things to improve and be better and grow and learn and teach, if all of those aren't coming together, then we're going to have the same old thing.
And this is a good ending question. We have like 3 minutes to answer this, because you mentioned that, we have to get rid of racism segregation in order to get into this idea of actually thinking forward, and saying, hey, if I'm going to be an advocate, if I'm going to intervene, I need to adopt certain practices. So what are some sacrifices that can be made to change the structure of advocacy? What are some things that, if advocates are serious about moving forward, that they're going to have to give up, adjust, change?
Do the work regardless. Don't be so caught up in, that's not my job, or that's not what I do, or well, I don't know, you're going to have to ask somebody. Just be willing to go the extra mile. You know, it doesn't matter if it's not your job, if you don't know, because when the client doesn't know, they're looking for resources. When the client doesn't have the resources, they're expecting something from us. Like you're going to help them, you're going to find out. They feel like we have the tool. So you got to kind of push all that stuff that you have stacked up in front of you to keep them over there and you over here. Move that stuff out the way. How can I help you? And whatever it is, just do it. Because whether it's your job or not, you can let Bill or Susie know that, hey, I did this for the client. I know that, you know, this is what you do, but I was with them. I just felt like it'd be one less thing you'd have to worry about. They needed it right now. You know, there has to be that team for the dream to come alive, for the dream to work, for everything to come to fruition. We all have to work, and we can't be worried about, oh, I did more and I just can't. If you know better, do better. That's what we need to do. We know better, so we have to do better, just period. And if you don't know, ask. And if you didn't get the information, ask again. Ask someone else. We just got to do better. That's all. We have to want to, though. It comes back to the choice. Make the choice. Because this is a valuable person. I value you more than this, that, or the other. Because at the end of the day, my check's going to be the same. My hours are going to be the same. My family's going to be the same. And everything in my life is going to be the same. So what did I lose by making a sacrifice for someone else who is truly in need?
It's like you really only lose your ego and the system of power. And that's the exact theme, is how do we change the systems of power? How do we stop the, oh, go to this person, go to this person, go to this person, and sending someone into the system of power that they don't know how to navigate in order to actually be a community member for them. It's kind of like you change that and you're like, well, it doesn't matter that this person's job is this because I'm their community member.
And go with them. It's going to be an extra however long. But did what they need get accomplished? Well, if it's about meeting the client's needs, meeting them where they are, if you just think like if you help someone meet a need and that need is out the way, that gives you however many more hours to help meet 5 other people's needs for the next week or the next day or whatever, because you knock that out. Not that they won't come back, because people need things. We all do. But, you know, do more than show up.
Well, thank you so much, Catrina, for just sharing all your insights on what it really means to see the power between an advocate and a participant, and how you manage those expectations, how you make room for much more between you all to really embody a community model around participants and advocates together being peers.
Thank you.
I see we do have one last question in the chat, but that will be answered offline. We will send it to Catrina and she will answer anything, and then we will send you all a follow-up email as well. That will be going out this afternoon. So we have a recording as well. So if you ever do want to come back to the recording, you can. We will also send out information for you to sign up for our next week's speaker series. We have 2 more. The next week will be on Danielle Weeks, who is our family and youth advocate. And then our last one will be with Hillary Bowker from Social Change. So both will be kind of focused on the youth side of things, but both kind of a little different. We are really excited that you all came out today. We are so happy for your time. And we hope that was a really lovely way to spend your Tuesday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catrina. You're wonderful.